Hello and welcome to our today's webinar about Easy Redmine Resource Management. My name is Anna Ogunusi and I will be your host for today's webinar. Before we start, I would like to mention that should you have any questions during the webinar, please feel free to use the questions and answers feature that is in the toolbar for these webinars. It's called Q&A. And I will get to your questions as we go or at the end of this webinar. So, as I mentioned, today's webinar will focus on Easy Redmine resource management. So first of all, let's actually talk about what is resource management. So actually, as a bundler and also as a plugin, it's one of our best-selling plugins for Easy Redmine and also for Redmine. And it's simply a tool for professional planning where you can assign work, and it's intended mainly for people, obviously, who manage other users and other team members, such as project managers, IT managers, business owners, HR managers, portfolio managers, pretty much any kind of a manager. And what resource management does, it allows you to manage and to balance the workload of the people, and also to keep up the schedule that you of your projects that you have planned. So it also helps you for the future to be able to plan out the workload for your team. So key resource management is a very important element for activity estimating, and it's an essential component for project management planning. So what are the main benefits of resource management? Why do we need it, and why should we implement it in our business? Well, resource management will help you to assess how well to utilize your entire resources pool, which means that it can increase your revenue, because once you utilize your resources, it'll be much more effective, and obviously you will save more money and make more money, which is the aim of all the businesses. You can also improve project delivery by reducing the cost and increasing the margins, which is actually what I just said. And you can also reduce administration costs. Well, it's all about the money. That's what makes the world go around. So that's what it is. Yes, it just makes it much more effective and much more simple for people to have a look at, to analyze, and to manage the team. So there are two levels of resource management. One is something that we call the global level, and another thing is what we call the project level. We will start with the global level, and then we will move to project level as we go. I will also be showing you some settings as we go, and then features within the resource management. So for us to access the global level, we will go through menu more, and as you can see right now, what I'm showing is actually the trial, the 30 days free trial. So this is what the home dashboard looks like when you sign up. This is what you will see there. If you are new, this is definitely something you can have a look at. You will also find here a bit more information about actual resources in this intro video. But for us right now, we'll go to menu more, and then over here we click on resource management. So since there are two levels of resource management, the global one and project one, who should be using the global one? It's mainly for those who need an overview of available resources throughout the application, and also need to see unassigned tasks on a single screen. So if you are looking to manage your staff, manage your team, all the users that you have within your application who work on all sorts of projects and tasks, this is the place for you to go. Well, if you are looking only to find the team that works on a specific project, then you would be working with the project level, which we will get to in a bit. So the main advantage of the global level, obviously, is that you don't need to be switching between projects, which you would be doing on the project level. So this way we are managing resources for more than one project at once. We just say on a single screen. So there is few bits into the global level of resource management. So what can we find here? So on top, these are some predefined filters. These filters that you can see over here right now are filters that are based on the demo data that we have there. Filters can be changed, they can be edited, and they can be deleted. Into setting up the filters, we'll get into that in a moment. And as you can see, there's a button for it over here for filters. Then there's a button for options, and then there is a settings button. Let's get to the options, because if we click on options, it'll allow you to choose the columns that you want to see within your resource management. As you can see, actually, the view of resource management is pretty much like Gantt view. So if you are familiar with Easy Gantt, then it'll be very easy for you to be using resource management because it works on the same principle. So over here, we have at the moment, we have 3 columns, which is subject, project, and priority, and we can see those over here. Should we wish to add any other column, such as the assignee, we just choose it from the left column over here, click on the arrow, move it over here. We can also change the order of the columns in this place. So now we can see a subject, project, priority, then we would be adding assignee. But if you want to see the project first, or the assignee first, let's say, we just use these arrows to move things around, up and down, completely on top, completely at the bottom. So that's how things work. And once we are happy with the columns we have there, we will click apply settings. And then also if we need to remove a column, so we don't want it here anymore, we just click on it and use this arrow and then apply settings again. So that's options. Then we have the settings, and then over here we have the view. We can be viewing it just like Gantt. We can be viewing it in days view, weeks view, or months view. By default, it's preset to the weeks view, which is probably the one that you'll be working with as well. And then we have the tools, and then we have save. The save button is very important if you make any changes, such as moving the tasks around, adding some time for a particular worker, etc. Just always make sure that you hit the button save so you wouldn't lose the changes you have made. So how to set up the default filters for resource management? Let's talk first about the default ones that we have over here. So that's something that we would find in our administration. So we can go, and administration is only accessible by admins. Admins are by default people who set up the Easy Redmine application, and it can be admin rights can be given to any other user, but you need to give it to them. So let's go to administration. And then we'll find filter setting, which is over here. And on the filter setting, we will find resource management. So what are the default filters that we are going to have a look at right now? They are active every time when no custom filters are active. So, and to edit settings of the default filters for global resource management, you have to come here to the administration, to the filter settings, and here we find the settings form, which we can see over here. And here we can choose what it should look like. So this is basically what we are viewing when we click on the resource management. So by default, what we are seeing over here is what is set up over here. And you can change the filters, you can add any filter, you can also have some default columns. So this is a setting that will apply globally for everyone within the applications. So that's for filter settings. And then there's also something about roles and permissions, because you know that certain users have certain rights and permissions within the system. So if you want to edit the rights within the system for resource management in particular, then it's again through menu more administration. I want to mention this since we are already in the settings in the administration, and then we'll find over here the roles and permissions. And for whichever role you choose, let's say executive role or no project management role, you know that the permissions have two levels, which is the global and the project level. So if we go under the global permissions and we scroll down a little bit, we will find resource management. So here is where you can edit and adjust the permissions for resource management on the global level. And if you scroll a bit more down, on the project permissions, you can do the same on the project level for each role, which you are probably familiar with already. So let's go back to our global view and let's get into the details of the filters that we actually. So we have seen how to set up the default filter. We have that, and then we have the filters over here that we can easily edit or bring new ones, create new ones, delete current ones, etc. So if we create a new filter, we can easily save it over here. And once we have it saved, then we can just be using them just by clicking on them, and then it adjusts the view accordingly. That was not the best example, all team members. So let's say just developers. So it'll only filter the developers within the system. Then it can only filter just the machines or the consultants, or it can even filter only just your tasks. So this is something that you can create for your own based on the needs that you have. So let's go back to the default. And let's have a look at the view that we are having here. So when we are on a week or month view, we can see the sort of resource allocation summary per each user in the respective period, whether it's months or weeks. Currently, we'll be working with the weeks view. And the colors indicate the level of workload for each user. And for you to get familiar with the colors and what they mean, you can just scroll down, and here you have the legend that explains it. So if we have a number that is in red, such as over here, here is in red, etc., the user is overloaded in a particular day. And since we are on a week view, if you wanted to see a day where they are overloaded, then naturally you will have to switch to a days view. And the reason is that they are because, for instance, over here where we see 17, sorry, I don't want to make a reservation. We'll get to that. So you can see that the 17, the number is in red, so which means that user is overloaded in a particular day. However, the whole square is showing in yellow, which means that the user has a free capacity. So how is that? That's kind of like, you might think that it's contradicting each other. So because we are on the weeks view, so this particular week, the user has a free capacity, but there is a day in that week when the user is overloaded. So when you switch to the days, you will see it over here. Okay, so like they can have the week, they don't have enough, they don't have that many hours during certain days, but then there can be 1 or 2 days when they are overloaded. So that's what that is showing us. So as I said, the yellow means that user has a free capacity and we can assign them some more work for that particular week or a month. This with green, the user has the optimal workload. Usually, so it can be 40 hours. It depends on your settings, of course, how many hours are the user supposed to work per week. So usually it's 40, and then it can be reduced based on if they have any vacations planned, etc. So then resource management will take all this into notice, and it'll show that, for instance, their capacity for that week, because they are on vacation, would be only 34 or 32 hours or something like that. Then if we see the whole square is in red, then the user is overloaded for the whole week. So not just a 1 day, but the whole week. So as you can see, usually on this example, we are working with 40 hours a week. And here the user has, let's go here, 48 or 56. So you can see even the whole week, they are overloaded, not just on 1 day. And if there is this gray square, as you can see, nothing is assigned, so user has no work assigned to them. Then, as you can see, there is this red line, and that's just like in Gantt. It just indicates where do we stand in time. So now, right now, we are in the 39th week. So it's showing us where are we at in time, just indicating that for us. So also there are this thing, the numbers, the hours are actually taking into how do we get them over here, let's say. So how does the system get these hours? So when we click on a user, we will see the tasks that they are working on. And based on the estimated time in task and the way it's spread in time, we get the total allocated hours for the day and for the week. So as the estimated time is automatically distributed throughout the task duration according to the allocation rules, whether we are allocating it from the end, from the beginning, from the middle, evenly, etc. But if we don't like the way how the workload is allocated to individual days, we can actually customize the allocation. So we can manually relocate it easily, and that's what's actually called custom allocation. So if we double click on it, let's switch to the days view. And okay, let's work with, let's go over here. So let's go to Ricky. So how to work with the custom, or how to use the custom allocation. So if we double click on a particular day of the task duration, we can enter a custom number of hours. So over here, I would enter, let's say there's 8, so I will put 10. And as you can see, once you double click, you change the number, you hit enter, and then the number will turn purple, which indicates that there was a custom allocation. And this way you can also actually you can edit the total estimated time as well, which is in the, which we can see on the tasks. So the total estimated time of the task would be, this is not the best example. When we are looking at the task, there is a number in a bracket. Let's see if we find a task. Oh, like over here. Okay. So these numbers in the brackets, they there's the estimated time for the task, and once we do the custom allocation, which means that we change the allocation manually, the estimated time, which is the number that is showing in the bracket, will adjust automatically as well. So when we what happens when we see these two numbers in the bracket? What does that mean? Because usually you will see just one number over there. I don't have a task to show it right now. Excuse me. But what do actually two numbers indicate? So when you see two numbers in a bracket before the taskbar, such as over here we have 75-3.5, excuse me, the first number is the total estimated time, while the second number is the time already spent on the task. So actually the dash represents like minus, so you are like deducting the task that has already been spent on the task. And also when you move a task, so we can actually be moving the tasks back and forth, as you can see. So as I said, it works like when you're working with tasking gun, just that over here you are focusing on the resources. So when you move a task and drop it over a weekend or vacation of the assignee, the number of working days in the task duration have to remain. Therefore, it automatically prolongs the due date. So like if we would reduce it from this side, it has to get longer at the end simply because of the allocation of the numbers on the task. So now let's move to tools which resource management offers, and we have that. Let's just switch to the weeks. Under the tools button, which we have over here, we have something. So we have back button. So if you are not happy with the changes, you want to go back, etc., you want to undo things, you can use the back button. The other way, also when you are leaving resource management and you have made some changes, such as we have done right now, always make sure that you hit the button save so you don't lose the changes that you have made. So then we have the edit. So obviously, if it's switched off, you can edit. If it's switched on, you can. And then I want to show you this feature, which is called balance. So you can see like just by, let me undo it. So you can actually see that something happened here. So when you click on balance, the balance feature can be found in the tools. And it's actually available both on the global level and the project level. We'll get to the project level in a bit, I promise. And by clicking on it, all the allocated hours of all displayed users, user assigned tasks, will automatically redistribute throughout the entire task duration based on the user's free capacity. So taking into account his daily working hours, vacations, as well as the other task allocation. So what it does is it balances out the workload. So there's a little difference between the global and the project level, that when we are using the balancing on the project level only works with tasks belonging to the particular project, and it kind of ignores the workload on the other project. So if you want to use this feature, the balance feature, the best place to use it is definitely on the global level, because then it takes into notice all the other projects and tasks on the other project. And so this balance feature, the process is based on the allocator type evenly. So as you know, when you are allocating a task, you can spread it from the end, from the beginning, and this way you are spreading it evenly. So hours are allocated evenly throughout the duration of the task, starting from today's onward. So that's also important. It does not affect the past, it only affects the future allocation. And only the last day of the task duration is never balanced because the remaining hours that could not be allocated into previous days are moved onto this day, which means that on the last day of the task you can be left with actually quite a lot of hours. And also when two or more tasks overlap, their allocated hours from the days that overlap are moved to the last day as well. So, and when the balancing is finished and an annually created vacation are not taking into account anymore. So it's taking into account only the current state, the vacation that has been logged into the system. But once you balance and then you put your vacation in, then you log your vacation, it's not the balancing is not gonna adjust accordingly. And the balance feature, the process is always executed in order of task priorities. So if the priority column, which we have over here, is displayed on the left side of the resource management, tasks with a higher priority are balanced first than the tasks with a lower priority. Such as over here, it would first balance out the one that urgent, then high, and then it would only take into notice the normal one. And if the priority column is not displayed, if you are not taking into notice the priority, if that's not like your the main attribute for you, then the tasks are balanced according to their order. So it's very important if you work with the attribute of priority on the tasks, make sure that the column is visible, that it's active on your resource management, so the balance feature can take it into notice while balancing it out. So we have pretty much covered the global level of resource management. I would like to probably just go into the settings over here. So that's the settings for the global resource management, and we have it here in the upper right corner. As you can see, we have made some changes, so we need to save it before we leave. The good thing is that it always prompts you to save it, so sorry. So once we click on the settings, so what can we find here? So we have here the options such as hour per day, which is the maximum hours that can be allocated per day for all users who do not have, so this is a global setting, okay? So this can be changed for some individuals, but this is the default setting. But if you have one or two users that have it differently, then you can change it for them separately. So usually this is the usual thing, of course, such as if you have users who are machines, or you have like machines set up in your system, then naturally they can for instance work 24 hours a day. So that one you will adjust for them individually. Or if you are in a country where you actually work Sundays because you don't work Fridays, like in Near East. So then you will just change, you can change that over here because that's something that applies throughout your application and affects everyone. Or if you have a team, you have various teams who are in various locations, then again, you would adjust it for each team or for each user based on the location that they are in, so it suits them and suits their working environment. Then you choose the default zoom, which is what I was showing you, that you can view it in days, weeks, and months. So as you can see, by default, we have here weeks, but if you are more likely to work with the days view, then by all means, change it over here. Then the default allocators. So what this allocator is, how estimated hours on the task will be allocated. Changing this option at the moment when you change it, it will not affect what has already been, how it has been allocated till now. It will only affect the future allocation. And as you can see, you have several types of allocations. So from end, hours are allocated from due date of the task. So they will be allocated from the end, then to the front. From start, then obviously they are allocated from the start of the task evenly, so evenly throughout the duration. Then future from end is hours are allocated from due date of a task towards today. And future from the start, the same thing, but the other way. So from today towards the due date. And then future evenly, hours are allocated evenly from today towards due date of the task. So it depends what you are used to working with. So by default, it says from the end. Personally, for instance, I prefer the evenly slow, but that's really up to you how you have that set up. So this option, change allocator, so it allows to change allocator when you are editing the task, show the soonest start, that shows lowest valid date for the task defined by relations of a parent, and then show the latest due date. We have it here as well. Then free capacities. So then it will be actually enables toggling of display free capacities instead of allocated hours for assigned task on resource management. And then show total project allocation, which is self-explanatory, show groups in the resource management. That really depends on if you work with groups and whether you prefer to see, if you want to, if you work with groups and you assign tasks on to groups, then naturally you need to see that. But it really depends whether you prefer to see it on the group or to see it on the individuals that are part of the group. And then a watchdog, so assigned to it watches the overloading during task. So, which means that when a task has too many estimated hours related to a user's capacity, and warning alert shows up on a full screen. So it would let you know not only through the coloring on the resource management, but also it'll like pop up on your screen like a big alert that you need to adjust that. So I would now go to the project level. If you have any questions, feel free to already type it in so I can get to your questions as we go. Meanwhile, let's go to the project level. So to get to the project level, we can just choose one of the projects that we have over here. So I just chose one of the projects that I have within the system in the demo data. As you can see, this is the main page, the project overview. And over here, this is where we can access the resource management. If you go to your project, you have the resource management plugin or the bundler available. And you don't see it over here in the toolbar of your project. I will show you right now how to activate it, how to bring it to the toolbar. So if you are familiar with the settings, how to change settings of the project, then you will know how to do this. It works with all the modules because we call each feature of this a module. So you would click on settings. Then the settings toolbar will open over here, and we need to click on modules. And we need to find EasyGunt and resource management. So this one need to be ticked in order for the resource management and also EasyGunt, because they are under one option over here to be showing over here. If we untick them, what will happen? They disappear. And as I said, if you don't have them there, you go to modules, and then you simply tick it and click on save. So this is how to activate it, and now we simply can access it just by clicking on it. As you can see, we have what we call inline menus or onboarding zone for all the features that we have within, all the main features that we have within the Easy Redmine. So you can easily it gives you like a quick tour through the features. So if you are using your resource management for the first time, it'll give you some tooltips. So who should be when to use the resource management on a project level rather than the global level? So the project level is better choice for those who need to manage the resources only on a particular project. So here it's not taking into consideration any task from any other projects, which can be a good thing and at the same time a bad thing. So if you are working just with one project, then yeah, this is definitely the choice for you. Difference between a resource management on a project level and global level is that on the project level is also integrated with EasyGuard. So you can actually easily work with these two tools together, which is actually not possible on a global level. And just to show you what I mean by that. So when we are here on the resource management, I don't think I need to dive in any details because it works the same way as the global one. You can see it here, the weeks, etc., the number of hours, everything is here. I forgot to mention that you can actually also print it out. And I just mentioned that you can actually use resource management with EasyGuard. So when we go to EasyGuard and we want to be using these two together, you just click on Tools in EasyGuard and click on Resource Management over here. And voila, Resource Management appears. But else it works the same way. So you can also use the balance. As we said, it won't take into notice any of the other projects though. You can also choose here whether you want to be, that's on the easy count. Let's go back to resource management. Yeah. Whether you want to be also like showing milestones that you have, whether you want to be showing free capacities. So the free capacity is basically the place where the person does not have anything planned yet. Now, I would like to show you one feature that actually I haven't dived into on the global level, and that's called reservation. Reservation is something that we only added to our resource management pretty recently, and it's a feature that is based on the feedback that we were getting from our users. And the reason was that sometimes you want to book out a user while you don't really have a task to book them under. Which means you know there might be a project coming up, but the project is not set up in the system yet. Or you just know that there will be some big meeting that you need, or an event that you need them for, but you can't really log it under tasks. Under task. So how to use a reservation? So reservation, you simply just do this. So with your left button on your mouse, you just drag as much as you want. Then you call the reservation. You can say meeting, start date, due date, estimated time. It can be, it is the maximum allocation time would be 8 for 1 day, of course. And then estimated time, who's the assignee, what's the project. You can choose because now we are under project, obviously, so it's going under this project. You can even add some description. And then you save it. And it'll show in orange, simply just to show that it's something different. One thing that is also important to remember is that reservations are not taken into notice when using the balance tool that I was showing earlier. So it won't affect it. So balance tool only works with tasks, while if we are balancing out the tasks, it won't really take into account a reservation that has been there. So if you work with reservations a lot, then balance tool is not a good tool, let's say, for you at that point. Or if you use balance tool a lot, then probably refrain from using reservations. And also the reservation actually mean that we can see that the user is going to have something there, which actually prevents us from planning a task. So no task can be allocated inside the reserved hours until the reservation is cancelled. And how to delete or edit the reservation? Well, let's find it over here. Simply click on it. It'll open the pop-up window. And you can see that right now we also have the option to delete it over here. So resource management is something that is actually, there's a lot into it. And what we basically went through today was just the actual itself resource management feature. Of course, there's a lot of settings. It's also connected with the logging time, spend time, etc. Because there are several plugins that actually form the resource management bundle. I would like to show you where you can find out more information about the pricing and the structure of the bundle or the individual plugins. So we can click in the free trial, we can click on export plans and pricing, or you can simply just go to the pricing page on our website. Once you choose whichever on the basic plan for yourself, which does not include by default the resource management, then you go scroll down and you can see that over here we have the resource management bundle, which you can add onto your basic plan. And this resource management bundle actually contains 3 individual plugins that can be also bought individually, but obviously if you buy it as a bundle, then you are saving 23%, which includes resource management, attendance management, and resource dashboard. Just to let you know, so we have been looking at the resource management, and the resource dashboard is when you scroll down and over here you will find the resource dashboard, which is something that gives you analytics and data over the resource management. So it can also analyze the resource management related data for you. And then attendance is over here. So attendance, again, it can analyze the data, and it also allows people to be logging their attendance into the system. So I think we have covered what we were meant to cover today. As I said, resource management is actually such a broad topic, so we could spend ages on it over here. If you want to find out a bit more about resource management, I definitely suggest you go through our documentation. You can scroll down and go to knowledge base at the bottom of our page. And then over here, just click on resource management. And pretty much what we covered over here will be here under resource management. So we have covered a piece of this. As you can see, there's quite a lot of information under here. So unfortunately, we are not able to squeeze all of it in. But you can review and go back to what we spoke about. You can check it in our documentation. And another thing that you can also do is when you go to our services, you can go under webinars. This is where you will be able to find a recording of today's webinar, as well as you can find our past webinars. And actually, we recently did another webinar on resource management in July. So you can already have a look at that recording. And also over here, you can sign up for one of our future webinars. So the next webinar will be in 2 weeks time, and it's called What's New in Easy Redmine, as we have few new features such as the balancer that I actually showed you today, but other features as well, that the news that we can share with you. And if you are someone who only now is starting with Easy Redmine, it's something completely new for you, and you are only having the 30 days free trial, I definitely recommend you join one of our onboarding sessions that we run for Easy Redmine every Thursday at 2 p.m., where you will learn sorry, where you will learn the basics of Easy Redmine, as in just how to navigate, like the general things, the general settings, creating new projects and new tasks. So that's it for today about Easy Redmine. Thank you for staying till the end. Should you have any questions, I will keep it running for another few more minutes, so you can type it in. If you have some questions later, feel free to contact us via email, via phone, or you can always use these chat windows that are available both inside the application and also on our website. Or if you think that you're struggling actually with the settings, that you might need a bit help with tailoring the Easy Redmine completely to your needs, make sure you visit the implementations that we offer. And over here, you can find out a bit more information what kind of implementation services and bundles we offer to our clients. And there's a questionnaire form that will give you a good idea. And our implementation team can help you, whether you are already an existing user or new user. We can help you to tailor it completely to your needs. Maybe even just when you are going to buy the new resource management that maybe you have not had till now. So thank you so much for your attention. I'll be looking forward to seeing you at our future webinars, and I wish you good luck with your projects.